My name is Demetria McDonald, and I'm the founder and CEO of Decide Diversity. I'm passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion because it impacts me. It impacts people who look like me. It impacts people who come after me, and we have to get this right. We owe it to everyone to get this right, finally to get this right. I worked at an organization where I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel included. I didn't really see a path for me to grow within the organization, and I don't want anyone else to feel that way. We all deserve a shot to be where we want to be as successful as we want to be. And I consider it a privilege to be able to help leaders to craft a culture where people feel like they belong, where people can thrive. The earliest time that I can remember not feeling a part of the team, not feeling a part of the family, was when I was 16 years old working at a fast food restaurant. This particular night, it was Halloween, and all the families come dressed in their Halloween outfits. They were sitting out on the patio, kids were eating ice cream, sorting through their candy. And I happened to look up as I was delivering food, and I saw a red truck pull into the parking lot. And in this red truck, there were 3 people. There were 2 people on the inside of the truck and 1 person in the bed of the truck. And also in the bed of the truck was a Confederate flag, waving proudly. All 3 were dressed like the KKK. And in that moment, I knew I had to do something. My parents, they taught me growing up that if I see something that's not right, I have to do something. I have to say something. So I'm going through all the different scenarios in my head of what I could do and what I should do. And when I finally land on one, I look up and they're gone. And I'm like, phew, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to do anything because they're gone. And I'm 16 years old. Who at 16 wants to do something like that? A few minutes later, they come back. I'm like, I've got to do something. And so I go to my manager and I say, maybe I should just go home. I'm not feeling welcome. I'm not feeling like I belong. I feel very uncomfortable right now. So I'll just go home for the evening. And my manager said, well, what's wrong? And when I shared with her what I saw and how I felt, she said, I'll take care of it. And I didn't see that red truck for the rest of the evening. I didn't see those 3 guys. Everything went on as normal. The next day I come into work and my manager hands me an envelope. I'm like, gosh, am I getting fired? Did I rock the boat? Like, what's happening here? And I open the envelope and it's a restraining order against those 3 guys. They were no longer allowed to come onto the premises for at least the next year. And in that moment, I learned a couple of things. I learned that it's important for us to say something when we see something that's not right. We have a voice, we have to use it, we have a responsibility to speak up. But I also learned that there are allies, that there are people who are in powerful positions that also have a responsibility to do something, to speak up and to take action. I think that was the first moment that I recognized and realized that I was powerful too. And that's not always a message that young Black girls get, is that we are powerful and we can change the world. Most companies are interested and want to be successful when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but they just don't know how. When it comes to taking action, they just don't know what to do. And that's where I come in. I help take leaders through the journey of what it really means to be invested in this work, to be serious, to be committed. Leaders come to me to feel safe, knowing that they can share things that maybe they can't go to anyone else and share. They know that I'm not going to judge, that I'm really there to help them, to help their organization be successful, to help people like me who come from the same background that I came from be successful within their organization. Being the leader of Decide Diversity is really been life-changing. This work has always been personal to me. I've always loved it. But it wasn't until the birth of my son, in the midst of everything happening in the world, I know that now I have a responsibility to create a better world and a better workplace for my son to go into. While my son is still young, I hope that people can see him as not a threat, but as someone who is deserving of equality, someone who is deserving of being included. And even as he grows older, he grows into adulthood, I hope that we've created a world together where people like my son and so many others feel welcome, they feel like they belong, they really feel like they are a part of the thread that makes all of our organizations successful. That's why I do this work. One of the main reasons why I started Decide Diversity was because of my own experience. My previous employer ran a marketing campaign for a new product, and as part of this marketing campaign, they used some words and phrases that were really offensive. So I went to the CEO and to the president of the organization and expressed my concern, not only from a brand perspective, how it reflected on us, but how it could potentially hurt people and further exclude them from feeling included. Unfortunately, the CEO, he wasn't on board. He did not listen to what I had to say. He did not care what I had to say. He was very close-minded to the fact that perhaps we should do things differently. When I brought to his attention that I want to move up in this company, I want to be a leader, he said, well, we already have that in place. We already have those things that will help you be successful. He was completely unaware of what type of culture was created that perhaps prevented people like me from achieving success. That's when I knew that there were probably other CEOs, other leaders throughout many other organizations that just didn't know, had absolutely no clue. So I started doing training. I went to various conferences, different organizations, really just to spread the word about diversity, equity, and inclusion, letting people know what it is and why they should care, why it was important to their organization's success. And from there, most organizations and leaders said, well, now what do we do with this? We have this great information. You helped open our eyes to see what's possible. What do we do with it? Where do we go? That's how at Decide Diversity, we brought consulting to most organizations. I absolutely love having long-term relationships with clients because what people need to feel included changes. Every day we're creating new processes, new procedures, new programs, and we have to look at it through the lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I help leaders do that. Leaders should choose me when deciding to do this work because I look at the entire picture. It's not just about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's about every aspect of your organization. When we're thinking about how does the marketing department be successful, the sales department, this is so important to the way that the organization and your company operates that not doing this work is not just not good, it can be detrimental. We've seen so many examples of organizations over the years that have not been committed to this work, aren't invested, and they're no longer around. I work with organizations who are serious about this work, who will make the hard decisions, who will decide diversity, and I love it.